checking in the operation and installation manual, the user's guide, the owner's manual, or the program entry guide. So have them handy as well.
What we want to look at this time is the operation of the control panel. To operate the control panel, you can do that really a couple ways. You can do it either with the D1255 command center, or you can do it with the D720 command center. What I'd like to talk about first is just how you operate the system with the 1255 alphanumeric command center, because the panel is a powerful panel, and for the most part that's what you're going to be using. If you look at the D1255 command center, you will notice some things on it, like the numeric keys, the command bar. There's an enter key, there's a next and a previous, and there's a menu key on it. So we're going to talk about those first of all so that we understand how it actually operates. The numeric keys are simply there to be able to enter numbers when you need to do that. That's primarily used to enter your combination or passcode to turn the system off. But they could be used for other features, such as if you're bypassing a point, it will ask you what point you want to bypass, and you can simply put in the number if you want. When you need to enter a number, that's what you would do it from, is the numeric keypad there. The next key that you see is called the command bar. It is the large one that is located next to numeric keys. And whenever you are trying to perform a command function, you would start it by pressing the command bar. It puts you in the command mode. You just then enter the 1 or 2 digits after that to do whatever command you want to do. And what we're going to do is talk about what each of those commands are. The next key you see is off to the left, lower left. It is called the menu key. It also says escape. And if you are operating a feature that's in the menu, to get in the menu, you simply press the menu key. It will take you right to the first item in the menu and allow you to perform that. If you go into the menu and you want to get out of it, all you have to do is press that key again, because it also operates as the escape key to take you back out of the menu if you need to do that. So the lower left is the menu escape key. Just to the right of that, we have the previous key. It's also got an arrow on it, previous, or what we call arrow up. It allows you to go backwards within the menu structure. The next key is the arrow down key and allows you to go forward. The previous key is the arrow up key and allows you to go backwards. And later on we will actually show you how you can scroll or navigate through the menu system. The last key, the lower right-hand corner, is called the enter or the yes key. Simply, when you have an option that you can choose to do, to say yes, you would simply press that key and it performs the function or the feature that you're attempting to do. For example, if the menu is there and it's saying view point status, you can simply press the yes key or the enter key and it will now allow you to start viewing the point status. Well, now that we know how the keypad works, we need to learn how to now perform the different operations. Turning on a system is called arming a system. Turning off a system is called disarming a system. First of all, we're going to talk about just turning it on, turning it off. And the easiest way to do that is to use your passcode. When you enter your passcode, you conclude it by pressing the enter key. And what it does is turn on all of your doors and windows, and it turns on all of your motion detectors. Or, another way to put it, it turns on all of your perimeter protection, and it turns on all of your interior protection, and it gives you a time that you can leave called exit time. And when you come home later on, it gives you a time that you can get back in to turn it off, and that's called entry time. So you simply enter your code, press enter, the alarm system starts to arm up. You have plenty of time to get out the door. Later on, when you come home, as long as you come home through the proper door, it now gives you time to get back to the keypad to turn it off without the system going into alarm. So the easiest way to control it is to turn it on and turn it off using your passcode. Another thing you need to know about is if there is a problem that happens with the system. For example, a point goes into trouble, it's going to buzz at you, it's going to make noise letting you know that this has happened, and you will want to stop that noise. Not only is a noise going to happen, but there's going to be information on the command center that's telling you what's going on. To stop the noise, you simply do a command 4. Then if you want to clear the information off the keypad, the command 4 would also do that. So you'll press command 4 once and it's going to clear the noise. If you want to get rid of the display, you press it again. Another thing that can happen is if the system goes into alarm, you now not only have the noise going on at the command center, but you have the outdoor sounders or bells going off too, and you would want to turn them off or silence them. And the way you do that is to enter your passcode. That will silence the outdoor sounders. So if you've had an alarm where the bell is ringing or the siren is going off, you'll use your passcode to silence that. If you've had a trouble on the system where the bell or the sounders aren't ringing, you just got a buzzer going off the keypad, you silence that by doing command 4. So you get rid of noise 2 different ways. We have the basic arming functions. We have the standard functions. We have the system administrator functions. We have the advanced functions. And we have the service functions. And we're going to deal with each one of those groups. The first one is called the basic arming functions. And those are primarily done through commands, using the command bar and entering 1 or 2 digits afterwards. There are 5 basic arming functions. The first one is called command 1. And the nomenclature for that is master arm. And what that means is when I do a command 1, I turn on all of my doors and windows, I turn on all of my motion detectors, and I have time to leave without setting it into alarm. And when I come home later on, as long as I come through the right door, I have time to go back to the command center and turn it off using my passcode. That's called master arm. I'm arming the perimeter and the interior with exit entry delay. Then the second arming command that you have in this control panel is called command 1-1. Press the command bar, press the 1, press the 1 again. That's called master arm instant. And what we're doing is turning on your security system, doors and windows, and motion detector, but it is now instant. There is not time to leave, there's not time to get back in. And that's called master arm instant. The next command is called command 2, which is perimeter instant. And what that allows you to do is turn on your alarm system, only turning on doors and windows, but not turning on the motion detectors. Where that would be used is if somebody is staying home at night, you want to be able to move around on the inside of the house, or if it's a commercial facility, you want to be able to move around on the inside of the building without setting off the alarm. So you would do a command 2. All the doors and windows are instant. If any one of those is opened or violated, it would cause the security system to go into instant alarm. The next command is called command 3, and that is called perimeter delay. It works exactly like command 2, except it now gives you that time to leave and that time to get back in when you turn on your alarm. So when you do a command 3, it turns on only your doors and windows. It does not turn on your motion detectors, your interior devices. It gives you time to leave. And later when you come back, if you come through the proper door, it gives you time to get back to your command center to turn your alarm system off. It is basically used, though, when somebody is going to be home, they need to move around the interior of the premise, and yet somebody else is needing to come home later on or come into the premise later on, needs to be able to get through that door without setting the security system off. That's command 3. The next arming command is called command 8. It's called partial perimeter. So again, we're doing a perimeter arming or turning on just the perimeter, just the doors and windows, and we're doing it partially. Now, partial means part of. So it means we're going to turn on part of the perimeter, and the question is, what part are you going to turn on, or what part are you going to arm? You're going to arm any perimeter point that is normal. Any perimeter point that is not normal is going to be out of the system. What this allows you to do, for example, if you're going to bed at night and you want to have some ventilation, you can open up your bedroom window, do a Command 8, and arm the system around that open bedroom window, called partial perimeter. The next group of commands is called standard functions. The first one is Command 4. What Command 4 allows you to do is silence a trouble buzzer and clear display memory. So if a point had gone into trouble, which is now causing the command center to buzz at you, and it's also causing the command center to display what's wrong, you can silence the noise and clear the display off by using Command 4. The next one is Command 40. Command 40 allows you to retrieve any historical data that is left in the buffer since the last time the security system was armed or was turned on. So if you have cleared a trouble, cleared the noise, and cleared the trouble off the display, you could retrieve it by doing a Command 40, and it will bring you back any historical information that has happened since the last time the security system was turned on. The next command is, yes, Ella?
How many events will the panel store?
Okay, the panel is capable of storing up to 500 historical events. Now, probably would not have that many events between arming conditions of the panel, but it is capable of storing up to 500 events. The next command is called Command 44. That is the local walk test. What it is used for is to let the end user walk test his alarm system, his security system, without bothering or without sending information to a central station. And it allows them to walk test any what we call controlled bird points. Doors, windows, motion detectors. When you do a Command 44, the first thing it will do is tell you how many points there are in the system for you to test. As you test a circuit, it will count down until it eventually goes to nothing. If you have not tested all the circuits that are there to test, when you get back to the command center, it will tell you how many are left to test. And as you scroll through it, using your arrow up, arrow down, your previous next keys, it will tell you which ones haven't been tested and allows you to now go out and test them. So that's Command 44.
This is part 1 of the Radionics D7212 system operation test. You'll need your answer sheet to follow along and answer the questions. Question number 1. Match the following commands. Question number 2. To silence a trouble condition on the keypad, you can press a command A2, B4, C6, D8. Question number 3. How many historical events can be stored in the memory logger? A, 70, B, 100, C, 300, D, 500. This is the end of part 1.
Command 47 is called sensor reset. This is a command that allows you to drop power to any two-wire device that requires power to be dropped to reset the device. Now, the most common devices that are used for this scenario are, number 1, smoke detectors, and number 2, glass break detectors. These are devices that once they go into alarm, the only way to reset them is to drop power. And this control panel has the ability to automatically do that, or to do that from the keypad without having to put any other equipment in there, such as toggle switches or push buttons or anything like that. You can simply go up to the keypad, go Command 4, 7. You will see the keypad go to reset sensors. It's dropping power and resetting the device, and then everything's ready to go after that. It's Command 47. Command 49 actually gives you 3 options. So once you do a Command 49, the first thing it's going to come up and ask you is, do you want a bright display? And you can either say yes by pressing the yes enter key, or you can go on to the next option. The next option is, do you want a dim display? And again, you can either say yes or no. And the third option is, do you want the clock and calendar displayed on the command center? And again, yes or no. Now let's go back. Bright display is what affects the visual on the keypad. Your words and stuff, how bright do you want them to be? And many times, if you're installing a command center in a bedroom, I tell you, 2 o'clock in the morning, bright is really bright. If you want to make that display dimmer, because it's in a bedroom or it's in a place where you don't want it so bright, you can simply do a Command 49, toggle down to do you want a dim display, say yes, and the display goes dim. Not only does the display go dim, but the tones on the keypad get lower. They aren't as loud. And it will stay that way until you either choose for it to go back to bright by saying bright display yes, or unless there's been an alarm, then it will automatically go back to bright. The third item there was, do you want the clock and calendar displayed on the keypad? And if you say yes to that, you get actually the calendar, month, day, year, and you get the clock. So that is Command 49. The next standard function is Command 55, which allows you to change your combination, as long as you have the authority to do it. Each one of these commands and functions that we're talking about, by the way, you may or may not be able to perform them depending on how the system is programmed and whether or not you have the authority to do it. But Command 55 allows you to change a combination. And the way you change a combination is you do Command 55, you enter the old combination once, and the new combination twice. Second time is to verify that what you've done is right, and you have now changed the combination. A combination can be anywhere from 3 to 6 digits long. And you can change the length in changing a combination. If you had a 4-digit combination and you want to make it a 5-digit combination, you can do that. It's called combination change, Command 55. The next standard function is called Command 6. It's called the watch mode. And what the watch mode does is locally enunciate selected watch points or selected points that are programmed as watch points while the system is disarmed. If I take the command center and I do a Command 6, it puts it into the watch mode. If I now go and open up a door that has been programmed as a watch point, the command center will tweedle at me, letting me know something has happened, and the display will tell me what point has been opened. To take it out of the watch mode, you simply do a Command 6 again, and the watch mode gets turned off. The watch mode can be set up to operate manually, or it can be set up to operate automatically. The next standard function, we combine these. We call them Command 7 and Command 9. They are manually initiated alarm reports. It allows an end user to just press Command 7 or Command 9 and allow the control panel to transmit a signal to the central station and possibly cause the sounders to go off. Command 7 and Command 9 can be programmed to be audible or silent. One could be audible, the other one silent, both audible, both silent, however you want to do it. Command 7 is very often used as medical alert or manual fire. And Command 9 is very often used as keypad panic. What you need to understand is they are fully programmable, and you can set them up to be whatever you want. Simply that when you do a Command 7, it's going to transmit a signal to the central station and possibly ring the bell if you've programmed it that way. The next group of functions is called System Administrator Functions. Some of these are commands and some of these are menu items. The functions that I'm going to talk about that are menu items can only be performed through the menu. The functions that are commands can be performed either way, in the menu if they've been placed there or with the command bar. Command 0 is a command that I use to bypass a point. If I have a point in the system that I want to take out so that it's not affected by the alarm system, I can do a Command 0. When I do, it asks me for the point number that I want to take out. And I have two options here. If I know the point number, I can just put that number in. Let's say we want to take out point 11. I would go 11, enter, and it would now show me on the display what point I've selected in English text. If that was, say, the patio door, when I do a 11, enter, it would come up and say patio door. As long I acknowledge that that's the one I want to take out by saying yes, and it is now bypassed. The other way you can do it is when you do a Command 0 and it comes up and it says enter point number, all you have to do is press the arrow up, arrow down key, and it will allow you to scroll through all the points that are bypassable. Not all the points of the system, but all the points that have been set up as bypassable, and you simply scroll till you get to the one you want, you say yes, and it's out. So that's bypassing a point. The next command is called Command 00, which is unbypassing a point. If I want to undo the bypassing, I would do 00, which is to unbypass it. When I do Command 00, you basically walk through the same steps as you would in bypassing. You do Command 00, the keypad comes up and says enter the point number. Again, if you know the point number, just put it in, press enter, and it will tell you what it did, unbypassed. If you don't remember the point number, again, you can just use the arrow up key, arrow down key to scroll through the bypassed points. It will not show you all points. It will only show you points that have been bypassed. And when you get to the one that you want to unbypass, you simply say yes, it unbypasses, and you're done. The easiest way to use both bypassing and unbypassing is to arrow up and arrow down through the text, so you don't have to sit here and remember, was that point 12, was it point 72, what point was it? We've made it easy by allowing you to just scroll forward and backward until you get to the one you want and take it out. The next system administrator function is Command 41. What Command 41 does is allow me to send a test report to the central station. It allows the end user to test the communication link between his security system and the central station. The next one is called Command 42. It's a status report. It performs the same function as Command 41. In other words, it allows me to test the communication link between my security system and the central station, but it just generates more information. It generates the status of what's happening with the panel. It tells the central station what AC is, tells it what battery is, is the battery good or not good, is system armed or disarmed, are any zones in trouble or alarm memory, that kind of stuff. So it gives a whole bunch of information rather than just a generic test report. Command 42, status report. Command 43 is premise-initiated remote programming. The control panel can be programmed via the phone lines in a computer. And if you were to have, say, an issue with your security system, you wanted your alarm company to add some features or to take away some features or to make some changes in your system, you could call up your alarm company and let them know what you wanted to do, and they simply would say, do a command 43. When you do that, what it causes the system to do is grab a hold of the phone line so that the control panel is now online with the computer, and the computer can now talk to the control panel. Basically, it's called premise-initiated remote programming. You have made the connection by making the call from the premise. Premise-initiated remote programming. The next system administrator function is called command 45. Command 45 is the command that allows you to set the clock and the calendar. And in setting the clock, you are asked for the hour and the minutes. You are then asked whether this is AM or PM. And then it moves on and asks you for the date. And you go month, day, year. And you simply conclude it by pressing enter, and it is all set in there. The next command is called command 51. If you have set up opening and closing windows on the system, it allows you to change the closing window. Command 51 allows you to extend the closing window. I am working at a store. We do opening and closing reports. We're using the windows as long as we turn the system on and turn it off when we're supposed to, nothing happens. That's what we want to see. But now I'm going to do inventory, which is going to take me beyond that closing window. I'm going to close later than I normally do. So that I don't create a problem, I can now do a command 51 and tell the system, okay, I don't want to close by 6 o'clock tonight. I want to close by 9 o'clock tonight. So I can move that closing time out so that I don't create a problem at the central station. Command 51, extend closing time. Command 52, adjust the time that a SCED will run. In the normal programming of the panel, the technician programs up a SCED to run at a specific time. Through command 52, it is possible to change the time that the SCED would run. If you have the coffee maker coming on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and tomorrow morning you're going to get up early for some reason, you want it to start earlier so it's ready for you, you could now say, okay, I want to move that so that that coffee comes on at 6 o'clock in the morning now. So you can change the time that a SCED will run. A schedule will happen. Command 52. Outside of the command, still system administrative functions, but these are only performed through the menu system now. So if you want to perform any of these, you must have the menu system operating on the control panel. There are 6 of them that we deal with here. The first one is called print log. The panel has the capability of storing historical information. It can store up to 500 events. If you needed to print out that information, you could go to the print log menu function, say yes, making sure you have a printer, parallel printer connected to the panel, and it would now print out the logger information. So when I say yes to print log, the first thing it's going to ask me is date. If I put a date in there, it's going to start at midnight on that date and print everything from there forward. If when it asks me the date, instead of putting a date in, I just press enter, it takes me back to the first event. If there are 500 events in the historical buffer, it's going to now print out 500 events. So you can either say, oh, I only want to go back this far, or I want to go back all the way to the beginning. It's called print log. The next function within the system administrator functions is called view log. You need to use the menu to do these items I'm talking about now. And to do a view log, you simply get to that menu item, you say yes, it's going to ask you for a date. If you put a date in there, it's going to take you back to midnight of that date and then allow you to scroll forward and backward in the log. if when it asks for the date, all you do is press the Enter key or the scroll up and down key, it will take you to the last item, the last event that has happened, and let you scroll backwards. So if all you're looking for is what happened last night, you view log, yes, yes, and you're at the last item, and you can just scroll backwards and find out what's been going on. All the events in the historical buffer are date and time stamped. The next menu function is called View Point Status. And it allows you to use this menu item to view the status of any point that this command center can see. Remember, we have scope. So if this command center that we're viewing the status from has area scope, it can only view the point status for points in that area. If it has account-wide scope, it can view the points in any area that's in that account. And if it has panel-wide scope, it can view all the point statuses on the panel. So view point status. Next one is view area status. And when you select this option, what it allows you to do is check the armed, disarmed condition of any area that you have the authority to check according to your scope. Again, if it's an area-wide keypad command center, it will only let you see the armed, disarmed condition of the area you're already in, which you're already looking at. View area status is checking on armed, disarmed condition. Master arm. We've already talked about two ways to master arm the system or turn on all of the security system. The first way was with your passcode. By entering your passcode, you turn on the entire security system. The second way you could master arm, again, was doing command 1. Well, this is a third way to master arm, but this gives you some additional features. If you select master arm, it will come up and say, do you want to arm all areas? If you don't, you simply toggle on to the next feature, which is, do you want to arm an area? And it will then let you toggle through the areas that you have the authority to arm. So if I select master arm all areas, it will arm all areas that I have the authority to arm and that the keypad has scope in. So if this is an area-wide keypad, all areas is just this area. If it's an account-wide keypad, all areas are any area within this account, only limited by my authority now. And if it's arm all areas and it's a panel-wide keypad, it's all areas on the panel, again, only limited by my authority. So that is master arm using the menu to do it. And then you have disarm using the menu to do it. Now, in the past, we talked about disarming. Just simply use your passcode. This feature in the menu is just the opposite of master arm. In other words, when you select this feature, it says, do you want to disarm all areas? Yes or no. If you toggle on down, it says, do you want to disarm an area? If you select that option, it will then let you go through the areas that you can disarm. So the system is armed. I choose disarm all areas. If I say yes, it will disarm all areas according to the scope of the keypad I'm on. So those are the system administrator functions. The next group is called the advanced functions. And in this group, we have 4 commands. The first one is command 50. And the nomenclature for that command is called the move command. And what it allows you to do is electrically move this keypad to another area. Electrically, not physically. Electrically move the keypad to another area according to the scope of the keypad command center you're working from. If I do a command 50, it's going to ask me then for an area. If I happen to be working in area 1 and I want to move to area 3, I would go 3, enter, and the display would now tell me it's moving. And in just a couple of seconds, up on the display would literally be the information from area 3, even though I'm standing in area 1. Now, moving is limited by 2 factors: the scope of the command center, and number 2, the authority of the individual using it. So if I have an area-wide command center, literally I can't move anywhere because it's limited to this area. If I have an account-wide command center, I can move to any area within this account. If I have a panel-wide command center, I can move to any area within the panel as long as I have the authority to do that. I can then see and perform any operations within that area. Now that you have done your Command 50 and you've moved over there, the question always is, well, how do I get it back? If there is no activity on the keypad for approximately 12 to 20 seconds, it will default back to the area it belongs in. There is nothing you have to do to get it back. So that is the move command. The next one is called Command 53. That is the delete combo command. So when you do a Command 53, it will then ask you for a user's ID. And you put that user ID in and press enter, they're gone from the system. Command 53, delete combination. Command 54 is manual control of the relays. Command 56, add a combination. When I do a Command 56, it asks me for a user ID. I put a user ID in. It then asks me for an authority level, and then it asks me what areas this user can function in, which ones it will be able to control. If you do not assign an authority level to an individual, you just leave it blank, they will only be able to perform operations on the system that do not require a passcode. Command 56 is add a combination. And you have to answer questions about where it can be used and what authority it has. So those are the commands within the advanced functions. The last one is called service function. And in there we have two commands. And they are Command 57, which is a command that just allows you to bring the display on the keypad to default text. Remember that we can program custom text for idle text. What do I want it to say when it's disarmed? What do I want it to say when it's armed? What do I want it to say if something is open? What do I want it to say if it's account armed? And if I have given it custom text, but I don't understand what that means now, or as a service technician, I want to find out what area the receiving part of this building is, I can just do a Command 57, and it will now go to default text, which might say something like Area 3 is off. Command 59 is your revision command. What it does is when you enter Command 59, it just brings up on the display the revision of software that this control panel is running. And basically where that's used is if you are trying to program some features and you can't get it to work, you might call Radionics and they might ask you what revision of software you're running, and this is where you would find out. So it's just a way to know what revision you're running. Those are the service functions. Doing the commands is no real big deal as long as you know what you're doing. If you wanted to do a sensor reset, which is Command 47, you would just press the command bar and the 4-7, and the display would go resetting sensors, and you've done the reset. So that's the way it operates using the commands. But to operate the keypad using the menu system, we have to know how to navigate through that. So if I want to use the menu system, all I do first is simply press the menu button. It takes me to the first item within the menu, and it lets me go forward or backward in the menu to whatever item I want. And once I find the item I want, such as combo change, I can just say yes, and it will now step me through the prompts to perform that event. And that's just simply navigating through the menu. Again, be careful of how you set up your menu. You want to make the menu friendly to the end user. So you want to know, well, I want the items in the menu in this order, or in this order. Turn them around, or however you want them to do. Yes, Donna?
What if the customer or the alarm company decides that they don't want to have any items in the menu?
What happens then is they don't program anything in there, and if somebody presses the menu button, it says command disabled. It just basically doesn't allow them to do anything through the menu system. Okay, the last two features we have are force arming and bypass arming. The difference between these two is when you're force arming, you are starting with a point that is faulted or open. A door is open, a window is open, a photoelectric beam has been blocked or something like that. And so the system is going to warn you first that there's a problem out here. That's force arming. So on your display it says something's open or whatever you've programmed for custom text. You can either at that time press any key and it's going to tell you what's open and you can go on from there. Or you can start your arming sequence. You can do your command 1 or you can enter your passcode or get into your menu and do your master arm. And when you say yes or when you do your command 1, the first thing it's going to say is that you have faulted points there, and you now toggle down and it's going to tell you what they are. And if you keep on going, it comes to the question, do you want to force arm? And if you say yes and all the parameters are met, the system will then turn on, arm up. That's force arming. So you start to arm. It will let you know something's wrong. You just scroll down through, finding out what's wrong, and then get to the question, do you want to force arm? And you either decide to do it at that time with enter, yes, or you get out of it, escape. Bypass arming, the difference between that and force arming is bypass arming is a condition that's abnormal on the system because I manually made it abnormal by bypassing a point. And so if I have bypassed a point, when I get ready to arm now, I start my arming sequence, but it tells me I've got a point bypassed. And I scroll on down to find out what it is, and if I want to continue on from there, it's going to say bypass arm question mark. If I say yes, it's going to do it, as long as all the other parameters are met. Now, if I have a faulted point and a bypassed point, and I start my arming sequence, it's going to show me my faulted point. It's going to show me my bypassed point. But when it asks me the question about arming, the question it's going to ask me is, do you want to bypass arm? Because that really has a priority over a faulted point. And I simply say yes or no, and it will arm up as long as all the parameters have been met. We have talked about how it works using the 1255. And remember now we also said there is a D720 keypad. And you can perform all the command functions on that keypad, just like a 1255. But because there is no English text, you may be performing them blind. But you still can perform them. But on the 720, instead of a menu key and a enter key, what you have are 3 function keys plus the enter key, called the A key, the B key, and the C key. What do? Whatever you tell them to do. Out of all the features that are in the system, all the functions in programming, you can tell the A key to do this, the B key to do that, and the C key to do that, and it is a mini menu. So it will operate like a 1255, but it has its limitations because it literally does not have a menu key. Instead it has an ABC key, and it has 8 LEDs instead of English text to tell you what's going on.
This is part 2 of the D7212 system operation test. You'll need your answer sheet to follow along and answer the questions. Question 4. Command 57 allows you to see the default idle text. True or false? Question 5. Match the following commands. That will conclude this portion of the Radionics D7212 video training series.